Welcome back again. Now, the salient features of the Constitution. It is the part 3 of the video series regarding the topic, the Constitution of India. So now, the Indian Constitution has some basic salient features. As I have already told you that the nature of the state is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, whereas the government of India, the form of government is parliamentary democracy. But in India, there are two types of polity have been noticed simultaneously. One is federal system and another unitary system. What is a federal system? Now, in a federal system, the power has been divided between the central level as well as the provincial levels. That means there is power sharing arrangements between the center and the provinces for effective administration according to the scheme of Montesquieu, because power should not be concentrated in few hands. So simultaneously India is a federal system and having some unitary bias. India is also a union. Under Article 1st 1, it has been mentioned that India, that is Bharata, shall be a union of states. The constitution makers first dreamed regarding making India a federal state, but when India was fragmented and partitioned and Pakistan was created out of India, they feared that some fishy-separatist tendencies may be creeping into the system in future. So they made the Union of India stronger, that the states could not succeed away from the Union. So the Indian Constitution makes India a federal state and simultaneously having strong unitary bias. So we may call that India is a federal state as well as a union also. So what are the features of federalism in India? Now the constitution is supreme in India. It is an indication that India is having federalism and division of power between the union and the state government, federal feature. And third feature is independent impartial judiciary and the power of judiciary to give decision, give verdict which must be binding on the center and the state. That means these are the federal features. And unitary features of Indian constitution are single citizenship. Unlike America, in America, there is double citizenship. A citizen of America is the citizen of the United States of America for the federal state as well as for his particular state. In India, there is single constitution, and in many affairs, the union may override the decision of the state. And during emergency, India became virtually a unitary state. And changes in the name of boundary of state can be done by the parliament, not by the state legislature. An integrated judicial system, a scalar system, unlike the state government and central government, judiciary has not been fragmented. Rather, judiciary is unified, and a ladder system or scalar system is existing. So, integrated judicial system is the indicator of unitary feature. And center appoints the governors of different states. That means the center has a strong control over the state administration through the governor, and the governor gives 15 days secret report to the union, and the president may declare state emergency, failure of constitutional machinery in the state under Article 356, which is also an indicator that a unitary bias is strong effect in India. Dependence of states on the center for economic assistance and grants, because the states are just pauper in front of the center. They always depend on the center for giving grants and assistance. Nowadays this does not happen because the states are raising their own resources, and nowadays cooperative federalism is going on, and coalition government is the order of the day. So the center is not adamant and not dictating the terms to the states. Rather, they are cooperating with each other, and the states are getting their proper share. But still, unitary features are dominant in the Indian constitution. So the structure of the Constitution of India, have a glance. Now the Constitution is having one preamble, 25 parts. 12 schedules and more than 450 articles. Now it could be more than 450 articles, 2 appendices, and more than 100 amendments. So, have a glance over the structure. The preamble is a brief introductory statement. It is the preface to the Constitution. Noted Constitution expert Dr. Nani Palkiwala told the preamble in the identity card. These are the 25 parts. Part 1, Union and Territory. Part 2, Citizenship. Part 3, Fundamental Rights. Part 4, Directive Principles of State Policy. Part 4A, Fundamental Duties. Part 5, Union. 6, States. 7, States in the B part of the first schedule. And Part 8, the Union Territories. Part 9, Panchayat. Part 9A, Municipalities. Part 10, Scheduled Areas and Scheduled and the Tribal Areas. Part 11, Relation between the Union and the States. Part 12, Finance, Property, Contracts, Suits. 13, Trade and Commerce within the Territory of India. 14, Services under the Union and the States. And Part 14A, Tribunals. Part 15, Elections. 16, Special Privileges relating to the certain classes. And Part 17, Languages. Part 18, Emergency Provisions. Part 19, Miscellaneous. 20, Amendment of the Constitution. 21, Temporary, Transitional and Special Provisions. Part 22, short title, date of commencement, authoritative text in Hindi. Total 25 parts are there. You may see the chronology. And more than 450 articles are also there. 12 schedules are there. Actually, previously there were 10 schedules. Originally, 8 schedules were there. Then 2 schedules included. And for Panchayat Raj and Nagarpalika, 2 another schedules were included. Now the Constitution is having 12 schedules. And the amendments to the Constitution is existing more than 100. So, another important provision of the Constitution is fundamental rights. What are rights? Rights are those conditions of a human life without which no person can be himself at his best. That means these are the basic claims of the individual which have been recognized by the state, and it should be observed by all the people residing within a territory. One's right, others' duty. So what are the rights? Now, rights to equality, rights to freedom, rights against exploitation, rights to freedom of religion, educational and cultural rights, and rights to constitutional remedies. Another right was there. It was a right to property, but it has been repealed long since. Now there are 6 fundamental rights. They are rights to equality, to freedom, against exploitation, freedom of religion, cultural educational rights, rights to constitutional remedies. Ordinary rights may be changed by the legislature by the ordinary process of law. But fundamental rights, as they are fundamental for the citizen and has been contained in the fundamental laws of the land incorporated in the Constitution, so under no circumstance they could be repealed. But they may be suspended for some time due to public morality, public order, morality, and for maintaining the sovereignty, unity and integrity of the nation. But one thing, Article 20 and 21 cannot be repealed under any circumstance. Right to life and personal liberty cannot be repealed under any circumstance, which has been contained in rights to freedom. Then, fundamental duties. Actually, the original Constitution did not contain any fundamental duty. During the emergency period from 1975 to 77, Indira Gandhi government appointed Swaran Singh committee to recommend regarding the fundamental duties. Nowadays, there are 11 fundamental duties. You know that rights and duties are corollary to each other. They are interdependent. So, the 11 fundamental rights here as under has been they have been given here. So the fundamental duties are to abide by the constitution. We should obey the constitution and to respect the ideas and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Fourth is to defend the country and render national services when called upon to do so. That means wherever the country is in danger, one must go to the army or to the armed forces to serve the country as a soldier. Next is to promote harmony and a spirit of common brotherhood, transgressing the religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. The spirit of harmony and common brotherhood should exist amongst the Indians. And next is to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Our culture is very rich and diverse. That should be preserved. Next is to protect and improve the natural environment. Natural environments, the flora and fauna of the country and the biodiversity should be maintained. Next, to develop scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform. That means we should not be guided by blind beliefs. We should not be rude to other beings. We should show humanism, human characteristics, and always we should go for the cause. We should not have any blind belief. So the spirit of inquiry and reform should be there. Next is to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. Public property, they are just destroyed by the people whenever there is any mob activity, any disturbance. Violence is also done to people as well as to property. That should be abjured. That should be avoided. To strive towards excellence in all the spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achieves. That means in individual parlance as well as in collective activity, every citizen should act in such a way that the nation should go up. That means the standard of India should be enhanced and India should achieve high laurels and glory. And if any person is a parent or a guardian, he or she must send her children or his children from 6 to 14 years of age to the school for education. It is right to education which has been contained under Article 21A in the 86th Constitutional Amendment and has been incorporated in the fundamental duties as the 11th fundamental duty. So these are the duties, as you know that rights and the duties, they are interdependent. They are the two parts of a same coin. So both must be respected and duties are there. Without duties, rights have no meaning. So the three organs of the government, legislature, the parliament, president plus Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, judiciary, the Supreme Court and high courts and subordinate courts. It is an integrated structure, and executive, the president of India, vice president, then the cabinet headed by the prime minister, executive department and agencies. The constitution is having some basic principles. First is popular sovereignty with the people, means the people are the makers of the constitution. Second is socialism, secularism, fundamental rights, DPSP, directive principles of state policy, judicial independence, federalism, cabinet government. So there are some provisions to amend the constitution which has not been mentioned in your book, but for your convenience these have been given by me. So by simple majority parliament may amend the constitution, by special majority 2/3 majority parliament may amend or modify some parts of the constitution, and some parts of the constitution require special majority. That means extraordinary majority, means 2/3 majority by the parliament as well as half of the states ratification is necessary. That is called as the very difficult provision. So according to the book Spirit of Law written by Lord Montesquieu, there is checks and balances between the three organs of the government, executive, legislature and judiciary for effective administration. That is being practiced in the Indian constitution, and there is a balance and a check between the three organs, executive, legislature and judiciary, especially the parliament, the executive council of ministers as well as the judiciary. what are the basic features, basic characteristics of Indian Constitution? Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution of the world. India is a democratic republic declared by the Constitution. In India, single citizenship is there, no double citizenship. It is a parliamentary form of government. It is a federation. Federalism is there. There are fundamental rights given to the citizens. There are directive principles of state policy directed to the state to do some things for the betterment of the citizens. Fundamental duties have been incorporated, and the state is a secular state. No religion is state religion, and in India there is independent judiciary. These are some of the points which you can ponder and answer the question. If a 13-year-old child is working in a factory manufacturing carpet, what fundamental right is violated? Nah, it is the rights against exploitation. If a politician in one state decides not to allow laborers from other state to work in his state, it is against the unity and integrity of the nation. So, Article 19, rights to freedom, is violated. If a group of people are not given permission to open a Telugu medium school in Kerala, that means it is violating Article 29 and 30, where educational and cultural rights have been violated. If the government decides not to promote an officer of the armed forces because she is a woman, it is against the rights to equality. The state shall not deny equality to any citizen, and equality before law and equal protection of law under the territory of India. No citizen shall be, or no individual shall be discriminated on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. That means on the basis of gender, a person cannot be discriminated. It is rights to equality which is violated, and the person can take the recourse to go to the judiciary to get back his lost rights. So, the Parliamentary Museum depicting the continuum of the democratic heritage of India dedicated to the nation by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. This is the Parliamentary Museum which was opened on 14th August 2006. So, the salient features of Indian Constitution are federalism, means two types of government for center and state. The third tier is added, that is Panchayati Raj and Nagarapalika in the urban areas, Panchayati Raj in rural areas. So, federalism is the salient feature of Indian Constitution. Second is the parliamentary form of government. Parliament is supreme and sacrosanct. It is the law-making agency, and the government which is forming in India, that is the majority party of the parliament. After every general election, the majority party of the parliament which constitute the government. Then separation of power between the executive, legislature and the judiciary. Fundamental rights which we have already discussed. And fifth is secularism. A secular state is having a state where there is no official religion. The state minus religion is called as secularism. So, our constitution is the longest written constitution, and all the good points of different constitutions around the world have been incorporated in our constitution. Our drafting committee headed by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar codified all the good points and incorporated in the Indian Constitution. So, Indian Constitution has withstood the vicissitude of time, and it has proved its excellence and mature its metal. It has not been fragmented. Many of the constitutions around the world, especially the neighbors of India, they have been made and broken several times. But the Indian Constitution has withstood the test of time and succeeded. So, our Constitution is a very good Constitution, and we should take pride in our Constitution. Our Constitution has also given us the rights for our self-determination. These are the keywords. Constitution, usually written document. Consensus means Sahamati, agreement of the people on the issue. Democracy, Ganatantra, fundamental rights, Maulika Adhikar, the set of right which has been incorporated in the fundamental laws of the land, जहाँ हमारे संविधान लिखा है fundamental right. equality, samanata. Majority means maximum in number, minority means minimum in number. Federalism, existence of more than one level of government like central government, state government and local government. Representative, a person who is elected by the people. Secularism, a system in which there is no official religion. Arbitrary, when nothing is fixed and instead left to one's judgment or choice. Arbitrary means doing on one's own capability, on one's own guidance. Arbitrary means monomukhi. Ideal, adarsha. Indian national movement, which was started by the people and it was led by Mahatma Gandhi in 1915, which caused the freedom of India, the independence of India. Polity means a country's political structure. Sovereign means externally and internally independent. Trafficking means practicing of illegal buying and selling of different commodities. Here in India, trafficking of human beings means selling and buying of human beings like cattle. Tyranny means the cruel and unjust use of power by the authority. So thank you very much. Have a great day and subscribe to my channel, like my channel and post your comments so that I could be inspired to post more video. Thank you very much.